Welcome to the Thrill Quests channel, where mysteries come alive. I'm Annabelle, your guide through a labyrinth of suspense and intrigue. Get ready to elevate your senses, grip the edge of your seat, and prepare to embark on a journey into the unknown. Every story is a new thrill, every quest a new adventure. So, are you ready to unlock the mysteries that lie ahead? Let the quest for thrills begin. The bones of La Exótica Bestia. The small town of Elmswood, nestled in the rolling hills of California, was a place where everyone knew each other. It was the early 1990s, a time when the internet was a novelty and kids spent their days exploring the world around them. For a group of high school friends, the town's rich history and hidden secrets were a source of endless fascination. The group consisted of Alex, the adventurous leader with a knack for solving puzzles; Mia, the studious and curious girl who always had her nose in a book; Jake, the witty prankster with a love for history; Sarah, the quiet observer with a keen eye for detail; and Mark, the athletic and practical guy who always kept his cool. One crisp autumn afternoon, the friends gathered at the school archaeology club, excited to participate in an archaeological dig at an old site on the outskirts of town. The site had once been home to an ancient Native American settlement, and rumors of hidden artifacts had piqued their interest. The dig was led by their enthusiastic teacher, Mr. Thompson, who had a passion for uncovering the past. As they arrived at the site, the group couldn't help but feel a sense of anticipation. The ground was soft from recent rains, and the air was filled with the scent of earth and pine. "All right, everyone, let's get started," Mr. Thompson said, handing out tools and assigning areas for the students to excavate. The friends set to work, carefully digging and sifting through the soil. Hours passed and their enthusiasm never waned. Just as the sun began to set, Mia's trowel struck something hard. "Guys, I think I found something," she called out, her voice filled with excitement. The group gathered around as Mia carefully unearthed a set of bones. They were unlike any they had ever seen before. Long, twisted, and oddly shaped. "What kind of animal is this?" Jake wondered aloud, examining the bones closely. Mr. Thompson joined them, his eyes widening with surprise. "I've never seen anything like this," he said, his voice tinged with awe. This could be an incredible discovery. As they continued to unearth the bones, a sense of unease settled over the group. The bones seemed to form a creature of nightmarish proportions, with elongated limbs and sharp, predatory teeth. Sarah, who had been silent until now, spoke up. "Could it be La Exótica Bestia?" she whispered, her voice trembling. The others exchanged puzzled glances. "What's that?" Mark asked. "It's a local legend," Sarah explained. "The old stories tell of a mythical creature called La Exótica Bestia, a beast that fed on the souls of the guilty. It was said to be a harbinger of doom, appearing whenever great evil was present." The friends felt a chill run down their spines as they considered the possibility. Could the bones they had unearthed belong to the mythical creature? Mr. Thompson, sensing their unease, tried to reassure them. "It's just a legend," he said, though his voice lacked conviction. "Let's pack up for the day and continue our research tomorrow." As they left the dig site, the friends couldn't shake the feeling that something sinister was at play. That night, they gathered at Alex's house to discuss their discovery. "This is unbelievable," Mia said, her eyes wide with excitement. "If these really are the bones of La Exótica Bestia, it could be the find of the century." "But what if the legend is true?" Jake asked, his voice tinged with fear. "What if we've awakened something dark?" "We need to find out more about the legend," Alex said, determination in his eyes. "Maybe there's a way to prove whether it's true or just a story." The next day, the group headed to the town library, where they spent hours poring over old books and records. They found numerous accounts of La Exótica Bestia, each one more chilling than the last. The stories spoke of the creature's ability to sense guilt and its insatiable hunger for the souls of the wicked. As they delved deeper, they uncovered a shocking revelation. The last recorded sighting of La Exótica Bestia had been in Elmswood itself, over 50 years ago. The creature had appeared during a series of brutal murders that had rocked the town to its core. The killer had never been caught, and the case had remained unsolved. The friends exchanged uneasy glances. Could the creature have returned? Determined to uncover the truth, they decided to visit the town's oldest resident, Mrs. Whitaker, who had lived in Elmswood her entire life. She was known for her vast knowledge of the town's history and its many secrets. Mrs. Whitaker welcomed them into her cozy home, her eyes twinkling with curiosity. "What brings you here, my dears?" she asked, her voice warm and inviting. "We've discovered something at the dig site," Alex said, showing her a photograph of the bones. "We think it might be connected to the legend of La Exótica Bestia." Mrs. Whitaker's expression grew serious as she examined the photograph. "I've heard many stories about the beast," she said, her voice low, "but there was always one that stood out to me. It was said that the creature could only be summoned by someone with a dark secret, someone who had committed a terrible crime." The friends listened intently as Mrs. Whitaker continued. "There was a man named William Caldwell who lived here 50 years ago. He was a respected member of the community, but he harbored a dark secret. He had murdered several people, but no one ever suspected him. That is, until La Exótica Bestia appeared." The friends felt a chill run down their spines. "What happened to him?" Jake asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "He disappeared," Mrs. Whitaker replied. "Some say the beast took him. Others believe he fled, but his guilt was undeniable." As they left Mrs. Whitaker's house, the friends couldn't shake the feeling that the past was coming back to haunt them. They decided to return to the dig site to search for more clues. As they carefully excavated the area, they uncovered a rusted metal box buried beneath the bones. Inside the box, they found a collection of old letters, photographs, and a journal. The journal belonged to William Caldwell, and it detailed his dark deeds and his attempts to summon La Exótica Bestia to cleanse his soul. "This is incredible," Mia said, her voice filled with awe. "We've found the proof we need." But their excitement was short-lived. As they continued to read the journal, they discovered a horrifying revelation. William Caldwell had not acted alone. He had an accomplice, someone who was still alive and living in Elmswood. The friends felt a sense of dread settle over them. Could the accomplice be one of their own family members? Determined to uncover the truth, they decided to confront their parents and ask about their family's history. The revelations that followed were shocking. Each of the friends discovered that their ancestors had been connected to William Caldwell in some way, either as friends, business partners, or confidants. As the pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place, they realized that the accomplice could be one of their own parents. The weight of this knowledge left them reeling, torn between loyalty to their families and the need for justice. That night, they gathered at Alex's house to discuss their next move. The atmosphere was tense, and the friends could feel the strain of their newfound knowledge. "We need to figure out who the accomplice is," Alex said, his voice filled with determination. "We can't let this go unresolved." "But how do we confront our parents?" Sarah asked, her voice trembling. "What if it's one of them?" "We'll have to be careful," Alex replied. "We can't let them know what we know until we're sure." The friends decided to split up and search their homes for any clues that might reveal the identity of the accomplice. They agreed to meet back at Alex's house the next morning to share their findings. As they searched through old boxes and hidden drawers, they uncovered pieces of a dark history that had been buried for decades. Each discovery brought them closer to the truth, but also deepened their fear. The next morning, they reconvened at Alex's house, their faces pale with anxiety. One by one, they shared their findings, piecing together the puzzle of their family's connection to William Caldwell. As they laid out the evidence, a shocking realization struck them. The accomplice was none other than Mr. Thompson, their archaeology teacher. He had been living under an assumed name, hiding his true identity and dark past. The friends felt a mixture of anger and betrayal. They had trusted Mr. Thompson, looked up to him as a mentor and guide. But now, they knew the truth. "We need to confront him," James said, his voice filled with determination. "Has to answer for what he's done." They decided to go to the school and confront Mr. Thompson in his office. As they approached the building, their hearts pounded with anticipation. They found him sitting at his desk, his expression calm and composed. "Mr. Thompson, we need to talk," Alex said, his voice steady. Mr. Thompson looked up, his eyes narrowing. "What is it, students?" "We know who you really are," Mia said, holding up the journal. "You're William Caldwell's accomplice." Mr. Thompson's face paled, and for a moment he seemed at a loss for words. Then he slowly stood up, his eyes darkening with a mixture of anger and fear. "So, you've uncovered my secret," he said, his voice low and menacing. "I knew it was only a matter of time." "Why did you do it?" Alex demanded, his voice shaking with a mixture of anger and disbelief. "Why did you help Caldwell?" Mr. Thompson sighed, his shoulders sagging as if a great weight had been lifted. "It wasn't supposed to happen this way," he said, his voice filled with regret. "I was young, ambitious, and easily swayed by Caldwell's charm. He convinced me that we were doing something important, something that would change history. But when things started to go wrong, I panicked. I helped him cover up his crimes, and I've been living with that guilt ever since." "But why did you stay in Elmswood?" Mia asked, her voice filled with confusion. "Why not leave and start over somewhere else?" Mr. Thompson looked at them, his eyes filled with a mixture of pain and resignation. "I thought I could make amends," he said. "I thought that by helping you uncover the truth about the past, I could somehow atone for my sins. But it seems that the past has a way of catching up with you, no matter how hard you try to escape it." The friends stood in stunned silence, processing the weight of his confession. They had uncovered the truth, but it was not the victory they had hoped for. The man they had trusted, the man who had guided them, was not who he seemed. "We have to tell the authorities," James said, his voice steady. "You need to answer for what you've done." Mr. Thompson nodded, his expression resigned. "I understand," he said. "I'll cooperate fully. It's time I faced the consequences of my actions." The friends left the school, their hearts heavy with the knowledge that their lives would never be the same. They had uncovered a dark chapter in their town's history, but it had come at a great cost. As they walked through the quiet streets of Elmswood, they knew that their bond had been strengthened by the challenges they had faced together. They had proven that they could overcome anything as long as they worked together. In the weeks that followed, the town was rocked by the revelations about Mr. Thompson and William Caldwell. The media descended on Elmswood, and the story of La Exótica Bestia and the guilty souls it had claimed became the talk of the nation. Mr. Thompson was arrested and charged with being an accomplice to Caldwell's crimes. The friends testified against him, sharing the evidence they had uncovered and the journal that detailed his dark past. Despite the turmoil, the friends found solace in knowing that they had done the right thing. They had brought justice to the victims and uncovered the truth about the legendary beast. As they sat together on the hill overlooking the dig site, they reflected on their journey. They had unearthed more than just bones. They had uncovered a story of guilt, redemption, and the unbreakable bond of friendship. And as the sun set over Elmswood, they knew that they would always be bound by the secrets they had uncovered and the mysteries they had solved together. Thanks for joining us on another thrilling quest. We hope you enjoyed unraveling today's mystery. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Thrill Quests to keep the adventure alive. And remember, there's always another mystery waiting to be solved, so be sure to tune in for tomorrow's episode. Until then, stay curious and keep questing.